just do some parenting hacks, stuff
Great.
that parents deal with on a regular basis, and maybe ways to kind of.
Is that children learn how to choose, not from a place of trying not to get in trouble or from fear, but instead they get to choose because it's their honest choice. And when there's this authoritarian style, it's aggressive and it creates more fear. And then that actually promotes inauthenticity. It makes the kid fake to try to avoid conflict or pain or whatever it is that they're afraid of.
Mix with a 2.5, the best mix from the 90s to now. Big Poppa in the afternoon. It's a Mental Wellness Wednesday with a life coach and published author, Rebeccah Silence, RebeccahSilence.com, and the book Coming Back to Life available wherever you get your books. Rebeccah, how are you?
I am so well and so happy to be here. I just had a birthday, so still celebrating.
How was the birthday celebration?
It was fun. It was really low key, but we had a just day of letting things unfold organically. I painted. We went to art galleries. I ate tacos. I've been cleansing for 6 months, so I hadn't had tacos in a long time.
Oh,
so I had tacos, which was very exciting for me.
When you go into like a celebration day like that,
yeah,
there's two ways to really do it. You know, you either plan everything out and have all these big expectations, or it's just like, let's just see what happens and see how we feel. And it sounds like the second one is what happened. And a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, those work out better.
Oh my God, it was so fun. And Mark and I are going to have a weekend together in Vegas coming up.
Oh,
and
geez.
we can celebrate in other ways. And it'll be very fun too. But this was really nice. I haven't had a weekend of downtime in months and months and months and months and months. And it was just wonderful. Yeah. Wonderful. And I always think people should meet themselves where they are and not be thinking about what it should look like. And it'll be so much more enjoyable.
Well, happy 22nd birthday, Rebeccah Silence. So what I figure we would talk about today is I was going through and seeing what we had talked about over the last few weeks, last few months. And one of the things that we really haven't touched on a lot is parenting stuff.
Yeah.
So I figured that we could talk about just do some parenting hacks, stuff that parents deal with on a regular basis, and maybe ways to kind of do that. I got 3, and so we can kind of go in on them. The first one is when parents use like an authority figure to help get the child to do whatever it is or act correctly. I'll call Santa. Oh, the cop is coming. That kind of thing. Is there a way to avoid that? Because that a lot of people use that like as their go-to.
I think this is such an interesting point. And I think the other thing that can happen is the parent almost puts on this authority mask, like they become a version of the authority they think they need to be to get the kid to do X, Y, Z, or they bring in Santa Claus or the police or
Easter Bunny.
Someone in my family used to tell the child, you will be put in the garbage can. You will be left in a garbage can.
I see, that's funny because my family, I was put into the garbage can.
Oh,
there's a difference between your family and mine.
Nobody was actually put in a garbage can in this case, but you were, and Lord. Okay, so the thing about it is, what I think is so important is that children learn how to choose, not from a place of trying not to get in trouble or from fear, but instead they get to choose because it's their honest choice. And when there's this authoritarian style, it's aggressive and it creates more fear. And then that actually promotes inauthenticity. It makes the kid fake to try to avoid conflict or pain or whatever it is that they're afraid of. And then the child isn't actually learning. I just had a mom this morning messaging me about, my kid needs to be nicer and she's just not nice and I need you to help with this. And my response was, if we train your daughter to be nice so that she's manipulating you so that she gets her way, that's actually not helping anything. So
Nope.
I'd rather her be real and have to deal with consequences and not be nice than be nice to manipulate and get her way, right? So that's what I have to say about that. And the thing about choice is it's easy to be authoritarian in your parenting style, and that actually squashes your children's ability to even think about what they're choosing. They just react to survive. And we want our kids learning how to make choices and how to deal with the consequences, whether the consequence is what they wanted or the consequence is one that they didn't want. All choices have consequences, and we shouldn't be waiting until our kids leave the nest to help them figure that out.
So this may fall into the same kind of thing. I know parents have a hard time dealing with bedtime
Yeah.
and getting, whether it's getting them to, in bed or start the routine or just to, lay there. There's a lot of trials and tribulations in a lot of households when it comes to children's bedtime.
Absolutely. And I have a 7-year-old. This has been a journey. And I have an 18-year-old that, bedtime, what's that? Self-care, what's that? So let's talk about not just bedtime, but self-care, because we don't want self-care to be this check off the to-do list that the child learns to resent. Right? We want them to learn that there's a way to take care of yourself at night so that you can sleep well, so that you can feel better in the morning and have a better day the next day. We want our children learning how to take care of themselves and what it takes to actually be a fully charged battery so that they can enjoy life as much as possible. So I do a lot of asking questions.
Hold before you go there.
Yeah.
I see that doesn't quite jive with what I'm thinking, because a lot of times they don't want to go to bed because they're afraid of missing something, or they're having too much fun and they're having and they're playing. So bringing it to self-care, I don't know if that'll resonate with a 5-6-year-old.
Oh my gosh, it will. It absolutely will. And here's why. So part of self-care is having fun, but it's also getting enough sleep, and it's also drinking enough water, and it's also eating foods that give you energy and help you be healthy. And so it doesn't have to be a big dramatic conversation with the 5-year-old, but it can be a simple explanation of, we're going to have a bedtime routine so that you get to sleep well and so that you get to be feeling great in the morning. And then I give a lot of choices. This is so overlooked, and it's such a great parenting hack. So do you want to do this, this, or this? No more than 3 choices, ideally 2. Do you want to read first or brush your teeth first? Do you want to play together?
It's not one or the other, or it's which one do you want to do first?
The kids get to pick. And that is also self-care, right? Learning how to choose, not just being dictated to, learning the benefits of going to sleep feeling like you had choice and you got to do what you wanted to do right before bed. It's
no, but that
powerful.
was you're absolutely right. But the point I was making is, you didn't say, do you want to do this, or do you want to read a book or brush your teeth? It was, do you want to read a book first, or do you want to brush your teeth first? Because you want both to happen. And the way that you're setting it up is they're choosing which one to do first.
And you're teaching them self-care without them actually knowing that's what you're doing. It's non-negotiable. The teeth need to get brushed. And what you don't want is all of these tasks, to-do lists, now do this, now do that, the dictator-like parenting style, to then have your children rebelling against self-care, because that's what will happen. If they don't understand self-care, they rebel against it. And that is dangerous. And how many of us, I mean, for years, I had eating disorders, I drank too much, self-care didn't even occur to me as something that I deserved. And it starts with your kids making choices about Do they want to play first and then brush their teeth? Do they want to brush their teeth and then play? And then we do 1 book, 2 books, 3 books. You pick. Do you want 1 long book? Do you want 2 medium? Do you want 3 short? Give them choices. Let them be a part of it. And you can even ask them before you go to bed, what's one thing you want to do so that this day ends on a high note for you? And they might say, take me out for an ice cream sundae. Well, that's not on the table. What's one thing you want to do at home that we already have available and that takes 15 minutes?
I think that this will really help people, especially because when my kids were little, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But
Right.
going through and seeing things and hearing things and obviously working with you and doing this for as long as we have, you've rubbed off on me. Giving the child a choice and the child feeling like their opinion matters is huge to them. So if you're doing the dictator-ish, okay, do this, okay, go do this, they're just doing what they're being told because they don't want to get yelled at. However, if you ask for their input and the input is actually considered, that makes a huge, huge difference.
Right. And then their choices, they get to see how it feels. And if we're letting them just watch TV until they pass out, if we're having a TV in their room and they get to watch it until they fall asleep, that becomes the practice that they think takes care of them. And it can make their nervous system go haywire. And it just doesn't have to be that way. And we don't want them rebelling. That's the other big thing. We want them co-creating with us. It makes your life so much easier when you give your children the power to choose.
It's a Mental Wellness Wednesday. Rebeccah Silence's book, Coming Back to Life, available everywhere. RebeccahSilence.com for all of your Rebeccah Silence needs. Great stuff. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, everyone.